transform. Okay, so if there is an ordinary differential equation, so that will be difficult to solve. So what you will do, you need to convert that ordinary differential equation into simple algebraic equation, right? Simple algebraic equation. So that can be done using this Laplace transform. Okay. So what do you know about Laplace transform? Why we generally use a Laplace transform other than this? Anyone has any idea? Anyone? Why we use Laplace transform? How many of you have used the Laplace transform before? They can raise their hand. Am I audible to you? Is screen visible properly?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so how many of you have used the uh, Laplace transform before? Can you raise your hand? Yes. So why we use Laplace transform? Do you know?
So for converting the equation in time domain to frequency domain, I mean to change the domain.
Okay, to change the domain. Okay. So there is a Fourier transform also. So why we use the Laplace transform for that particular thing, for converting the time domain equation to the frequency domain? So any idea? There is a Fourier transform also is there, no? Right or wrong?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think, other fellows? Sanskar, Ruturaj. Okay. What do you think, Samskar? What is the main difference between Fourier transform and Laplace transform? If Fourier transform is there, why? What is the need of Laplace transform? Okay. Yes, yes, speak. So there was some noise. There is some noise, I think. So you can mute your mic. Okay. So, ठीक है. So generally, the frequency that is Fourier transform will be applicable to only stable system. Okay, if you want to do if you want to view the frequency domain representation. Okay, so just a minute. Okay, someone has replies, sir, because non-convergent signals in Fourier transform get converted to the convergent signals in the Laplace transform. Okay, good. So what we can say, generally for the stable signal, okay, for the stable system, if you want to do the representation of Fourier, the frequency domain representation of those systems, you can use a Fourier transform, okay. But for unstable systems, you can't use the Fourier transform, okay. For unstable system, if you want to do the frequency analysis of the unstable system, you can't use Fourier transform, right? So for those unstable systems, we will require a Laplace transform. So it will be applicable for stable and unstable, both the systems, okay? So control system may be stable system or control system may be the unstable system, okay? So that is the use of Laplace transform, okay? So all of you are familiar with this equations, okay, and all the properties related to the Laplace transform, but we will just revise that if some fellows hasn't revised those
Excuse me,
properties.
sir.
Yeah.
Sir, unstable system means unstable in what sense, sir?
Unstable means, for example, if this is a system, right? Okay. And for this system, if I apply the step input, okay, if I apply the step input and if I get a unstable signal as output, unstable means unbounded output, we can say unbounded output. So unbounded output means what? When t tends to infinity, okay, so that signal will not be having the finite value in amplitude, if I say. Okay, so unbounded output. And
Okay.
for us, hello, hello, have you said something?
Okay, sir. I said okay, sir.
Oh, okay. So such systems are unstable systems, right? So for such a system's transfer function, what is mean by transfer function? If this is output, this is a input. Okay. So I represent this system using a transfer function. Output upon input. So this is a transfer function. So such a systems uh, can't be the frequency domain analysis of the systems will require a Laplace transform to do the frequency analysis. Okay. So as you know, the Fourier transform of f of t is f of s, and how you can calculate that using this particular equation, right? So this is what bilateral Laplace transform, right? Okay. Or for the function f of t, and the kernel is e raised to minus st dt, right? What is s here? S is the complex frequency. Okay. So S is the complex frequency. Okay. So in that complex frequency, the sigma is a real part and this is the imaginary part, right? It is a combination of real and imaginary. There will be the real axis, there will be the imaginary axis, right? So like this way we represent the Laplace transform. Okay. And if you want to take inverse Laplace transform, so there will be this equation, okay? F of t is equal to 1 upon 2 pi j and integration over the limits this, okay? So the frequency frequency will be varied from minus infinity to infinity, okay? F of s e raised to st ds, okay? So this equation all of you know, right? So first we will see the unit step signal, Laplace transform of the unit step signal. So unit step signal is represented like this, right? 0, 1. So mathematical expression for that will be u of t will be 1 when t will be greater than 0, and this will be 0 when t will be less than 0. Okay. So here, if you want to find out the Laplace transform for the u of t, you just need to put the value of u of t. You just need to make a space here. Okay. So what is the equation to calculate the Laplace transform? So this is the equation. We'll see. Okay. So you just need to put your f of t. What is your f of t here? U of t. So that will be 1 for a t greater than 0. Okay. So I will just calculate the Fourier transform. The Laplace transform. for that. Okay, so that will be from 0 to infinity 1 e raised to minus st dt. So that will be like, right, 0 to infinity. So this will be minus 1 upon s e raised to minus infinity minus e raised to 0. So this will be 1 upon s, right? So 1 upon s. Okay. So Laplace transform of unit step signal is a 1 upon s. So there is a region of conversion concept also, but when we will do pole zero plot, now that time we will see that concept, region of convergence. So region of convergence is that thing for that particular part. We will see that part. Okay. So this will be the Fourier Laplace transform of u of t. So I can say that u of t, unit step response, is having the LT 1 upon s. This is a Laplace transform pair. Okay. So these are the standard signals. If you say unit step signal or ramp signal, okay, or a parabolic signal. So how you represent the ramp signal? Anyone? How you represent the ramp signal? Okay. So ramp signal will be like, if I say, if I want to represent the ramp signal, so that will be R of t, t into u of t. Okay. So this will be the ramp signal, right? And similarly, if you find out the Laplace transform for this particular function, for this particular signal, so that will be, if you put this R of t instead of this f of t, so you will get 1 upon s square. Similarly, other standard signals are there. For other standard signals, there are different Laplace transforms like t raised to n u of t will be n factorial upon s raised to n plus 1. Now this is exponential signal e raised to minus at into u of t. So that will be like, how the signal will be like here. That will be decaying signal, right? So this is also a stable signal, right? So at t tends to infinity, we are getting a finite amplitude. So if you put e raised to minus at u of t in that particular formula, you will get the Laplace transform for this particular signal will be 1 upon s plus a. Okay. Now, if you use this Laplace transform for the impulse response, impulse signal. Okay. So as you know, impulse signal is like, okay, so time domain, and this is the impulse signal. And I use a green color to represent that impulse. Okay. So at t is equal to 0. So what is the amplitude at t is equal to 0 here? Can anyone tell me? At t is equal to 0, what is the amplitude of impulse signal? Anyone knows? So that will be infinity. Okay. And other than t, that will be 0. Okay. And if you just the area under the impulse signal, what will be the area under the impulse signal? If that is a unit impulse signal, so that area will be, if I do minus infinity to infinity del of t into dt, so that will be 1. So this is important. Okay. So area under the unit impulse signal will be the 1. But amplitude of that particular signal at t is equal to 0 will be the infinity. Okay. So the Laplace transform of del of t, that is the impulse signal, will be equal to 1. Similarly, the next standard signal is cosine and sine signal. Okay. So cos omega t into u of t. So for this particular unilateral Laplace transform, for this particular signal, Laplace transform will be s upon s square plus omega square. Okay. Similarly, for sine omega t, u of t, Laplace transform will be omega upon s square plus omega square. So these are the standard signals. Okay. So you will require, whenever you analyze any system, you will require these standard formulas. Okay, standard Laplace transforms. Okay. So after dealing with this, we will start with the properties of the Laplace transform. The first property is linearity property or the superposition property. You may have used superposition theorem, right? So in superposition theorem, what we do in network analysis or circuit theory kind of thing. So we take one supply, okay, independent supply. We check the response for the particular element like a resistor, what is the current, what is the voltage. Then we remove that supply, we connect another supply, right? And then we again find out the particular response, okay? And the overall response will be the sum of those two responses, right? So that kind of superposition theorem you may have studied in circuit theory. Okay, so similarly here in the linearity property, if I say linearity property of the Laplace transform is like this. If f of t, f1 of t is having the Laplace transform f1 of s and f2 of t is having the Laplace transform f2 of s. So according to the linearity property, if I apply the Laplace transform on this signal, so that is a combination of f1 of t and f2 of t, where a and b are the scalar values, okay, or we can say this constants. These are the constants, okay. So the Laplace transform of this particular signal will be a into f1 of s plus b into f2 of s, means summation of their individual Laplace transforms, okay. So this is the property of linearity. So let us use this property to find out the Laplace transform of this particular signal. Okay. So here you can see this signal is a combination of three signals. The first one is what? First one is what? If I take u of t inside, so that will be u of t plus 2 into e raised to minus 3t into u of t plus 3 sine 2t into u of t. Okay. So this is a linear combination of these three signals. So just tell me what is the Laplace transform of u of t. We just have calculated, right? Just have finded out that thing.
1 by
Okay, good. 1 by s plus, now you know what is the Laplace transform of e raised to minus 3t u of t. We have seen the standard form here. E raised to minus at u of t. So that Laplace transform will be 1 upon s plus a. So what is a here? A here 3, right?
3.
So 1 upon s plus 3. Similarly, you can calculate the Laplace transform for sine 2t into u of t. So what is the Laplace transform of sine 2t into u of t? So that will be like a 2 upon s square plus 4, right? Instead of omega, there will be 2, no? So 2 upon s square plus
yes
4.
sir, yes.
So 2 upon s square plus 4. Okay. Good. So we are ready with this. So we just need to. Okay, this is 1 upon s plus 2 upon s plus 3 plus 6 upon s square plus 4. So this is the Fourier transform, right? F of s. So in this way, we have followed the linearity property of the Laplace transform. Okay, and if we talk about the next property, so that will be a time scaling property. So generally, what time scaling properties states? So if f of s is the Laplace transform of f of t, and if I time scale the signal, so here you can see I have time scaled the signal f of t here by the scaling factor a. So here a is what? Or we can say that here a is what? Scaling factor, right? So here I have scaled the f of t timing factor time scale by a scaling factor. So what will be the effect on the frequency domain representation of that Laplace of that particular signal? Okay, so that will be 1 upon mod of a into f of s by a. Okay, so you do the scaling here, so there will be frequency division, right? So frequency will get divided by that particular factor. Okay, so this is the time scaling property, and we will see how to use this. Now here you can see that f of t is having the Laplace transform uh, 1 upon s plus 1. So what will be the Laplace transform of f of 2t? You just need to apply this simple property here. So you can solve this. So instead, so here a is what? A is 2 here. So you just need to use that here, right? So what will happen? So this will be like what? 1 upon 2, 2 s plus 2. The final will be 1 upon s plus 2. Okay. So this will be the Laplace transform of f of 2t. Okay. So this will be the Laplace transform of f of 2t. So like this way you can apply the time scaling property. Here I have given the simple examples. So you just get to know about the properties. Then we talk about the time shifting property. So what is mean by the time shifting property? We shift the signal in time domain, and in the frequency domain or in the Laplace domain, what happens? The phase shift will get changed. So here this thing is what? Phase shift change. E raised to minus s t naught. Okay. So if I say that if f of s is the Laplace transform of f of t, and if I scale f of t by the scaling factor, so here this will be delayed version or advanced version f of t minus t naught. Delayed version or advanced version. This is a delayed signal, okay? If t naught is positive. So f of t minus t naught, and if I calculate the Laplace transform for this, so that will be e raised to minus s t naught into f of s. Similarly, if you advance the signal in the time domain by t naught, if t naught is positive, so f of t plus t naught will be having the Laplace transform e raised to s t naught f of s. Okay. So what I am saying, time scaling here, time shifting here, you must have you know now what is mean by uh, delaying of the
Sir,
signal and advancing of the signal.
excuse me, sir.
Yes.
How will we get to know that it is advanced or delayed?
So I will explain here. Okay. Now this is the, if I consider u of t. Okay. So this is a unit step signal, as just we have seen the unit step signal. So this is like this. So now this signal is starting from the 0 time axis, means at time t is equal to 0, this signal is get starting. Okay. Now if I delay this signal by 2 time units, so what will be the delayed version of that? That will be u of t minus 2. So here delayed version of the unit step signal by time step 2. So that will be, so that signal will start from time unit 2 like this. Okay. So this is called as a delayed version of this unit step signal. Similarly, if t, here t naught is what, 2, so that is positive, right? So that is a delayed version of this signal. Similarly, here f of t minus t naught is a delayed version of f of t. Similarly, if I talk about the advanced version, advancing in time and advancing in just like that. So if I do like this will be the advancing by t plus 2. Okay, so this is the advance. So what is mean by delayed? So the initial function used to start at 0, but this function is delayed by 2 time units, so it is starting from 2. Similarly, this u of t is starting from 0, but this advanced function is starting from the before point, okay, minus 2. So before the 0, it's that signal is going to start. So that thing is delayed and advanced. So have you got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So just in the Laplace domain, what happens when you delay that signal? There will be the phase shift change of e raised to minus st naught. Okay, means generally omega t naught here, the phase shift change, because s is equal to j. If we talk about the particular frequency domain kind of thing, generally Fourier transform kind of thing. In that way, that will be s is equal to j omega, right? Similarly, if you advance the signal, there will be e raised to st naught f of s. So these are the time shifting properties. So similarly, here for the calculation of the Laplace transform of u of t minus 2, so for the calculation of Laplace transform of u of t minus 2, what you can do, so as you know that u of t is having the Laplace transform 1 by s, so delayed version of that will be, now here it is delayed by 2 time units, so that will be e raised to minus 2s into Laplace transform of u of t, that is f of s, so that will be 1 upon s. Okay, this will be e raised to minus 2s by s, right? So this is a Laplace transform of u of t minus 2. Similarly, what will be the Laplace transform for u of t plus 2 then? Anyone? Right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So we have seen the time shifting now. Next, we will see the frequency shifting. So what is meant by the frequency shifting? So so here you can see this time domain signal f of t is multiplied by this signal. So here s naught e raised to s naught t, right? So here s naught is a complex frequency. S naught is a complex, e raised to s naught t is a complex signal, right? Okay, exponential complex signal. So if I multiply that signal with f of t in the frequency domain, this s frequency will be shifted by s naught. Okay, so here frequency shifting will be done. Okay, if I multiply this f of t by this particular signal, e raised to s naught t. So that frequency shifting will be done in the frequency domain. Similarly, if I multiply f of t with e raised to minus s naught t, so there will be the f of s plus s naught. So you can apply this frequency shifting property for this particular example. So in this example, so how you can apply this? So you know that cos omega t u of t, so you can consider this as a f of t, right? You know the Laplace transform of this particular signal, right? And you have multiplied this signal with this signal e raised to minus at. Okay, so what is the f of s? What is the f of s here? Laplace transform f of s. So just we have mentioned here what is the Laplace transform cos omega t u of t, that will be s upon s square plus omega square. So here that will be s upon s square plus omega square. Now I am multiplying that with e raised to minus at. So there will be the frequency shift of what? Minus a. So that will be s plus a, right? So here you can see e raised to minus s naught t into f of t. So in the Laplace transform, f of s plus s naught. So s plus s is equal to s plus a, right? So s is equal to s plus a. So that kind of thing. So overall Laplace transform of this e raised to minus at into cos omega t into u of t, you can say that that will be s plus a upon s plus a square plus omega square, right? Because this is f of s now, right? So in the f of s, we are just putting s is equal to s plus a. Okay, so this is a frequency shifting property of a Laplace transform. Okay, so next property is time differentiation. So if you take a differentiation in time domain, so here I have taken the differentiation in the time domain, d by dt f of t. The Laplace transform of that particular thing will be s into f of s minus f of 0. 0 means this 0 negative means this is the initial condition, and this is a time domain representation, means this is I am using a small letter for that, so you will not get confused here. So that will be f of t at t is equal to initial condition when t is equal to 0. So this signal, okay, so this is the initial signal. So if you take a double derivative, that's d square upon dt square f of t. So Laplace transform of that will be s square into f of s minus s into f of 0. Similarly, this is this thing only. Okay, f of t at t is equal to 0, and thus f prime 0 means f prime means derivative of that thing. So d by dt of f of t at t is equal to 0. Okay, so like this way, this property will be helpful when you see that you have used the ordinary differential equations to represent particular system. You can simply convert that particular equation into algebraic form of equation like this, and you can you can do the analysis of that system. Okay, so this is a time differentiation property. Okay, and if you apply that time differentiation property for this particular example, here they are asking about, so this is the equation, right? Ordinary differential equation. So here they are asking what will be the Laplace transform of y of t, and they are saying that initial condition is 0. So these are the initial conditions, right? So all f of zeros you are seeing, these are the initial conditions. So they are saying that these initial conditions are 0, means these two terms and this one term will be get eliminated when you calculate the Laplace transform for this derivatives of that particular signal. Okay, so that will be s square into y of s plus 12 into s into y of s plus 32y of s into 32 into u of t, right? That is unit step signal. So what is the Laplace transform of that? 32 by s. Okay, so if I simplify this particular equation, okay, so if I simplify this particular equation, so what I will get here, y of s will be 32 upon s into s square plus 12s plus 32. Okay, so this will be the Laplace transform of that particular signal. Okay, so this few properties we have seen about the time differentiation. So before moving to the next properties, so are you following correctly? Any doubt is there?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, before moving into the next properties, we will just see what is meant by linear system. Okay, and how to find out that system is a linear system. Okay, so generally system which follows the principle of superposition. So in the principle of superposition, there is a law of additivity and law of homogeneity. Okay, so if I consider this system, okay, and for this system x of t is the input and y of t is the output. These are the most common convention people use for the inputs and outputs. So if I talk about the law of additivity, so for example, for this system, if I apply the signal x1 of t, so I am applying the signal x1 of t to this system, I will get the some output y1 of t. Okay, and if I apply the next signal, that is x2 of t, for this system, I will get the output y2 of t. Okay, and if I take a summation of these two signals, these two output signals, so that will be y1 of t plus y2 of t. So that will be the summation of that thing. Now, next time, if I apply the combination of x1 of t and x2 of t to this system, so I am applying the combination of these two, okay, x1 of t plus x2 of t to the system, okay, and I will get some output y prime of t, okay. Okay, so if I get that output y prime of t, if that output will be equal to y1 of t plus y2 of t, so we can say that this particular system is following the law of additivity. Okay, and if it don't follows that, if that signal is not equal to this, so system is not following the law of additivity. Okay, so this is a simple law of additivity. After seeing the example, you will get the clear idea about this. Okay, then next law is law of homogeneity. Okay, so if I apply the signal x of t to system, I will get output y of t. Okay, and for that particular output y of t, I am multiplying with some constant c, so I am getting c into y of t. Okay, similarly for input signal, if I scale the input signal first by factor c, so here okay, if I scale the particular signal, I scale the input signal by factor c, and that signal if I apply to the system, and if I get the output y prime of t, and that output is equal to this c into y of t, means after applying the x of t to the system, we get the output y of t, and we scale, we just multiply that output with some constant, so we get c y of t. If that And in the next scenario, what we do, we first multiply the constant with the input and then we apply to the system. Okay. And then, just a minute. Sorry. Okay. So that y prime of t, if that y prime of t is equal to c into y of t, so system is following the law of homogeneity. Okay. If that is not equal to that, so that is not following the law of homogeneity. Okay. If system follows these two laws, so we can say that system is a linear system. Okay. So now let us consider this signal y of t. Let us consider this particular signal. Okay. Or system we can say. Okay. So here output is x into x x of okay, x sin t. Okay. Out here, just a minute. Yes. Okay. So now here the output signal is x sin t. Okay. So first what we will do, first we'll check for the law of additivity. Okay. Here what I am doing in law of additivity, what we have done for particular signals x1 of t and x2 of t, we are getting some outputs and we have added those outputs. Okay. So here you can see y1 of t is x1 of sin t and y2 of t is x2 of sin t. Okay. So y of t is output here. So if I say y1 of t is x1 of sin t and y2 of t is x2 of sin t, and if we add these two signals, okay, so that will be x1 of sin t plus x2 of sin t. Okay. Now in the next step, what I have done, I have applied the combination of the inputs x1 of t and x2 of t to the system. Okay. So here I applied the combination of the those signals to the system. So here you can see I have applied the combination of these two signals to the system, and the first signal is x1 of t, right? And next signal is x2 of t. So here you can see when x1 of t is when you apply that to the system, so that will be like addition of these two, right? x1 of sin t plus x2 of sin t. So it is always equal to this kind of signal, right? This summation, when you apply the individually those signals and whatever the summation we do after those individual outputs, so this and when we apply the combination of these two input signal to the system, we are getting the same output as the previous case. So here law of additivity gets followed. Okay, so we just say like that here. So here what happens generally, this system is what is the output. Here when you apply the input to that particular system, instead of t, it only puts the sin t. Na? So instead of t, what this system do? Instead of t, it puts the sin t. So what the system has given, instead of t, he just put it the sin t. So this will be the output, right? So this will be the output, and this output is equal to the combined combination when you individually combine those signals like that way. Okay. So law of additivity gets followed. Now, what is the law of homogeneity? So in the law of homogeneity, we just apply some constant to particular signal, and we just need to check that if we apply a particular signal, particular input signal by some constant, output will be also get multiplied by the same constant. Okay. So by this, here you can see that in the first step, we have the output this y of t is equal to x of sin t. So for that output, we are multiplying with the constant k. So I have multiplied this with the constant k, right? Now, in the next step, what I do, I scale the input by the constant k, then I apply to the system. And what is the system? What this system is doing? Instead of t, it puts the sin t. Okay, so this will be k into x of sine t. Okay, so like this way, this system is following the law of additivity and law of homogeneity. So these two concepts are get followed here. So I can say that this system is a linear system.